What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Week number 2 of my YouTube channel. Before I kick off the topic and what I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to thank everyone for the feedback and the comments and the subscribers and anybody who shared my video. It meant the world to me. And, I'm just hoping that this channel can give back and make people feel a little more connected and a little more self-worth and self-love and kind of think a little bit differently, because it's something, like I mentioned in the first video, it's something that's really changing for me a lot, and I just want to share and kind of give back and show what worked for me, and also allow myself to see my process, and maybe you can grow along with me. That would be awesome, and I hope you guys kind of join me along for the ride. And for anyone who watched the first video, I talked a little bit about self-love and self-acceptance and how important that is and how vital it is for your happiness. And I want to go a little more in depth about that and talk about self-love and loving yourself and talking kindly about yourself. And I want to share just a little story that happened. I got a few stories that I want to share that will help you understand my process and where I came from and where I'm coming from, I should say. I have always not loved myself. I've always disliked myself. There were times when it was very intense in my addiction. My self-loathing and self-disgust was huge. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I just did not like anything about myself. And that's always been a kind of a theme going on in my life. And I always thought it was braggadocious to talk kindly to yourself. I thought in some ways, not only did I deserve it, but in ways I thought it was kind of cool to always beat myself down. Like, who am I? Like, I shouldn't be talking nicely about myself. I don't have any nice qualities. It was just something that I just did. It was my life. It's how it worked for me always. It was just a state of being and a state of not loving myself that I just got accustomed to, and it permeated every aspect of my life. And I had a really interesting thing happen to me yesterday. I actually did a masterclass, a free masterclass through Mind Valley. If you guys don't know who Mind Valley is, I'll put it in the notes below, and you should check it out because it's amazing stuff. It's by this guy named Vision. He's just this guy who I look up to so much. He's really changed my life. But anyways, so I did this free masterclass, and it's about rapid transformational therapy. And it was a 60-minute masterclass, and it was basically, being hypnotized in a way. It gets you into your subconscious and allows you to kind of process things that happened to you earlier in your life that got you to, not have confidence and not believe in yourself and not feel worthy. And it's by this amazing therapist. Her name is Marissa Peer. I'll put her in the notes too. She's this amazing British woman. She just does this amazing work. And so it was about a 40-minute session, and it was free and it was amazing. And what it did is it basically brought me back to times in my life, 3 distinct times in my life that made me feel worthless and unlovable and made me think less of myself. And one of the incidents that it brought up for me was when I was when I was about 11 years old. I always wanted to fit in. That was always something that was really important to me. I always wanted to fit in. I always wanted to be loved. And whenever I wasn't fitting in or I didn't feel like I was receiving love, I always took that on and internalized that. And most of it came from my peers. I was very loved by my family. I had no issues growing up. I mean, everyone has issues, but I was very loved. I had a stable home and brothers and sisters. And so anyways, she got me thinking about a time when I was 11 when I got in an argument with a girl. It was just like this, we were younger, we were at school. And it was a girl that I didn't want to be getting an argument with, but she was being very mean to me. And so I was kind of giving it back and being rude as well. And some people that I really, really looked up to in school, one of them especially, came up to me in the middle of it and grabbed a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and he smushed it on my chest. And everyone was laughing and making fun of me. And that solidified in my brain, my young brain, that I was worthless, that I was unlovable. And it was something that I didn't have such an I didn't know it had such an effect on me until yesterday. I knew it was an issue in a kind of a really pivotal moment in my life because I can remember it like it was yesterday. But she had me going through and reliving that moment, and I started crying while it was happening because I was back in that moment. And I remember that was like the nail in the coffin for my self-love. I just felt completely unlovable. From that point on, I just never felt good enough. I never felt cool enough. I never felt loved enough. I didn't feel like I was lovable. And one of the things that she did that was so huge, and I kind of this is the main reason that I want to share it, was a real breakthrough for me, because while it was happening and while I was reliving it, she talked about how when this happened, I was just a young kid. I was just this young little boy with an undeveloped brain who hung on to that and interpreted it a certain way without the right logic or the prefrontal cortex, all of the right reasoning that comes along with it. And I ingrained it in myself, and it became a part of who I was. It was my identity. And it got me so sad, but also really lifted me up, because it made me understand that I have all of these perceptions and views of myself that I came and that formed in my head and in my brain and in my heart when I was younger, before I was ready and capable of really analyzing why this happened to me and how it wasn't because of that I'm unlovable. But in this little brain of mine, I took that on, and it became every fiber of my being. There were other incidents that happened, but basically what I was allowed to do in the process is come to a point of being like, wow, like I was really young then, and my whole life has been impacted by that moment. And I wasn't even old enough to really deal with that properly. And I realized that my self-loathing came from a moment when I was a child. And I've heard about that, and I knew that that's what was going on, but it really impacted me. And I started thinking about how that it doesn't need to be like that anymore. I have the ability to let that go, and to understand that those incidents that happened to me, these pivotal moments in my life when I was younger, yes, they were impactful, but I was this little kid trying to process it and deal with it. And I don't need to look at it like that anymore. I can forgive myself. I can forgive the people who did it to me, and I can start to move on. And, you know, when I go through those moments, it starts really clicking light bulbs in my head, or lighting off light bulbs in my head, and understanding that like all of these patterns that I have, if I look at them and I search through them and I think about them, I can actually have the ability to change them. And that has been so life fucking changing for me. I can't even tell you. And so I want to get back more into the topic of self-love. And I honestly think it is just one of the most, I can't think of right now in my journey and my change and my process that I'm going through, my spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it. I can't think of anything that's more important than that. It's vital to your happiness. It's vital because you have to love yourself to truly be happy. You know, you can have all of these external factors that will bring you fleeting joy. You know, of course, if you have a significant other or you have kids, and of course they bring so much happiness to you, or if it's your job, but you're never going to have that long lasting, real, true happiness until you accept yourself, until you love yourself, until you work on yourself and you give yourself a break and you talk kindly to yourself. I touched on this a little bit in my first video too. It's, you know, I didn't even know what that meant. You know, I didn't understand the importance of it. I did not know that if I changed the way that I thought about myself, my reality would completely change. I just thought life was something that you did, and you went through the motions and you did your things and you had moments of happiness, and then you were sad, and, you know, yada, 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 yada. And don't get me wrong. Like, of course, that's how it's going to happen. I'm not always happy, but to have this general underlying feeling of being okay with who you are and being proud of yourself for doing self-care things for yourself is just a huge, I mean, it is a total game changer. So what I want to kind of talk about with you is, you know, what are the things in your life? What are the things that happen to you, if you can even think about them, that don't allow you to love yourself and forgive yourself for the things that happen to you and who you are now? You know, I had a lot of really bad things happen to me when I was in my addiction. I hurt people really bad. I stole from people. I was, I was the reason that my first marriage ended in a divorce. And there's just a lot of things that really happened. And I held on to those so hard. Those were I was completely stuck in my past because I felt like I deserved to be in pain for the pain that I caused for other people. I'll give you another quick story. So in San Diego, where I live, there's a fair that happens once a year, and it's basically, they set up all the rides and everything like that. And before I got clean, and I was trying to get clean, I went to the fair with my cousins, and I didn't want to go. They were visiting, but I didn't want to go because I didn't feel like I deserved to have fun. And they kept asking me to go on rides, and I was like, I don't want to go on rides. I'm good, thank you, because I just didn't want to feel like I deserved to go on a roller coaster or to have fun while I was doing it. And so they finally talked me into going on one of the roller coasters, and I can't remember, one of the rides. And I remember I was sitting on it, and the whole time I was sitting there, I had my eyes closed, and I almost wanted to cry. And I was telling myself the whole time, you don't deserve to have fun on this. When this thing starts, you don't deserve to have any fun. You sit here, you think about the pain you've caused people, and that's what you should be thinking about while you're on this. And this may seem trivial, it may not to whoever, but it was very impactful for me when I look back on it, because I just wouldn't allow myself to get past the hurt that I caused to other people. My whole life now is trying to give back and trying to, make amends and do things that will, make me feel good inside, and I look back on that and I feel so bad for me when I was like that. And if anyone's going through those same issues, or smaller issues or larger, I just want you to know, like, how worth it you are to love yourself. Those experiences that that happened to you when you were younger, or that when you hurt that person, or if you did those things, it's okay. Sometimes it takes work. You have to make your amends. You have to do whatever it has to do to make yourself, to get to that point. But it's okay to forgive yourself. You don't have to live in a life, in a place of just self-loathing and self-disgust and not feeling worth it. The most important person in your life is you. I didn't get that. And so I hope my message can resonate with a few people to understand that the most important thing, and where it all starts, is with you and inside your heart and inside your brain and how you think about yourself. Once you're able to reach that path and get there, your whole life changes. If I had known what I know now, I would have changed a long time ago. But then at the same time, this path that I'm going on feels perfectly timed. And another thing that I want to touch on is external factors. We all love shit. We love all that material stuff, and I'm one of them. Like, I'm not any different than you. But the thing about those things, and it's not even just material shit, like just external things that make you happy, they're not going to keep making you happy. You can get the rad TV, you can get the dope clothes, you can get the newest car, you can buy the new house, you can do all of those things. But if you're not happy inside, all those things will be fleeting. There'll be a new car in a year, new TV in 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, everything changes and you lose your happiness towards those. It's great to be happy and searching for those things and getting them. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but you're never going to have long lasting happiness until you do the work and look inside your soul and love yourself. That's when the freaking magic happens. And so what I want to say to end this up is to challenge you to not live a life where you don't love yourself or accept yourself for who you are. You're missing out on so much happiness that lasts. You'll be sad, you'll be upset, you'll be angry, you'll be all of those things. But to get that real love that permeates and happiness throughout your life, you have to love yourself inside. So think about things. Think about something you can do, a small step where you can stop judging yourself so harshly. And you can stop being so mean to yourself. And maybe look at the experiences that happened to you when you were younger, and they do not define who you are. Your thoughts are not your reality. They are just your thoughts. And most of the time, the majority of the time, they were shaped when you were too young to even really process what happened to you. And you held on to that. I hope you can find a way to look into that and be able to release it and not live in your past and try to live in your future, because your future can be so fucking amazing if you just allow yourself to be happy. The world's your oyster. Things will start happening to you. You'll start being happier and experience bliss and things that you've never even knew were possible, because I didn't know they were possible. I didn't know that I could continually feel excited for the next day. And some of you might be saying, well, this just happened, and that's true. But I can tell you one thing, I'm going to keep doing the work, and I'm going to keep sharing that work with you so that it benefits me and it benefits you. I'm going to be putting up these videos every week. I'm just going to put up what inspires me. But if there's something that, and I think will inspire you, but if there's something you want me to share, let me know. Do me a favor, subscribe, share this with somebody who's going through some hurt, some internal hurt, and you've noticed that they're depressed and sad and lonely and they don't love themselves. Share this video with them. Let them know that I was in that exact same position. Maybe you were in that exact same position. If this video has the ability to even help one person, help them think, and even maybe not right now, but it plants a seed for a year from now or 2 days from now, whatever, then I've done something that will make me proud and make me feel like my purpose is real. So thank you all for watching this. I'll have another video up next Sunday. See what the topic will be. I know a lot of you are struggling. I mean, the world is struggling right now with what's going on with the quarantine and the virus. And I just want you to know I'm sending out so much energy of love and positivity. And I hope for a little bit you can yourself live in love instead of fear. Love is where it's at. Think about the emotion that we all want to achieve all the time, the feeling we all want to achieve all the time, happiness and love. If you do the work and you find your purpose, that's the emotions that will drive your life instead of the other way around. Much love to you all. Leave a comment. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks so much. Bye.